Hi Trinell, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent. Are you ready for a quick card trick?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a deck of cards like this. And before we start, I'm going to make a couple of predictions. I'm going to choose a couple of cards for you. Normally, of course, you would choose cards for me, but we're going to do it the other way around because I don't get to choose cards very often. So I'm going to go for this one first of all. And then I think, no, this one. Definitely this one for you second, okay? So here's the idea. I'm going to take the cards and I'm just going to deal the cards one at a time like this. And at any point you can call stop.
Stop.
Now, would you like me to finish dealing this card or leave it where it was? It's totally up to you.
Leave it.
Leave it where it was. We're going to place the 4 in, but face up so we can find it again. And we'll drop the rest of the cards on top. And we'll do the same for the 10. In fact, you can do it if you like. If you want to take the cards and just deal the cards face down one at a time into a pile. And just deal until you feel the compulsion to stop. Excellent. We'll put the 10 in and drop the rest of the cards on top like that. Now, that's absolutely perfect. So, you have placed the 2 cards face up in the deck, totally randomly. Is there any way I could have preempted where you'd place them? No? No. Excellent. We're going to take out the face up cards and the cards you put them next to by just dealing them in. And obviously, if you'd stopped dealing one card before, you'd have got this card, or one card after, you'd have been here. Okay. But as it is, you've stopped exactly there. Now, here's the weird thing. Do you believe in coincidence?
Yeah, sometimes.
What a coincidence, so do I. There we go. You've placed the 4 of clubs next to the only other black 4 in the deck, the 4 of spades. That's pretty weird, isn't it?
Yes.
And you place the 10 of diamonds next to the only other red 10, which would be the 10 of hearts. And how you managed to do that in a deck that has no faces at all, I just have absolutely no idea. And that's the kick. So let's take a look at what you need to perform the kick. You're going to need a deck of cards that is blank-faced and together with 2 pairs of regular cards that are mates. So in this case, we've got the 2 red 10s and the 2 black 4s. And you just set them up exactly as I've set them up here. So you put a regular card on the face of the deck. The next 2 cards can be in any order and can go anywhere in the middle of the deck. So they just get shoved in. And then the last card, which doesn't match this one, goes on top. And with the deck set up like that, you're ready to perform. So to perform the trick, start off with the whole deck into the card box, but face up. So put it in that way. That just gives you one of the subtle little displays. Basically what's going to happen here is obviously the spectators never see that the deck is printed, but there's going to be a couple of psychological points that make people assume that the deck is printed and regular. And the first is, of course, that the moment you bring out a deck of cards, people are going to assume that they're printed and regular. So right off the bat, the assumption works against them. But we're going to reinforce that with a couple of little subtleties here. And the first one is simply this. When you take the deck out the card box, they see a card on the face as you set the deck down. So we start off by then saying we're going to choose some prediction cards for the spectators. If you can do a false shuffle or a false cut here, that's a really cool thing. But it's not essential for the trick at all. So next, we say we're going to choose, if you're working with 2 spectators, that's nice. You say I'm going to choose you some cards. Normally, it would be you guys choosing the cards, and I don't get to do it. So I'm going to do this trick the other way round. So you spread the deck towards yourself. Again, they'll get a flash of the face card as you do it, but don't worry about that. And you spread through, and for the first spectator, you make it look like you're looking for a prediction card for them, even though you're just looking at the blank cards. But you don't want to just rush to the 10 of hearts or whichever card it is you're looking for. Take your time a little bit. So you'd say, I'm going to choose a prediction card for you first of all. So I'm going to go for this one. And then table that face up in front of them. So that's the 10 of hearts here. This is another little subtlety to again imply that the cards are printed. You turn to the second person and say, now I'm going to choose a card for you as well. And you spread through and you up jog a card that is blank. So you've, it's just basically a decoy thing. So then you look back at them and you say, actually, I think maybe I'll go for this one. And then you put that one down in front of them as the 4 of clubs, or whatever card it happens to be in your set. So you've kind of implied that they are all different and that you've changed your mind, and that it seems like a really subtle thing, but it really is a big selling point into them buying into this deck is regular. One small thing to watch for is very random, but if your set contains a picture card, be careful about having this slightly awkward thing. So let's say I've got a queen as one of the prediction cards. You don't want to turn to a guy, up-jog a prediction, and then say, oh, actually, no, I think this one for you, and then put down a queen, because it can be kind of misconstrued or something. It's far better to use number cards or just be mindful of your spectator and what you're suggesting, because if it's a prediction card and you're kind of tying it into their personality, best to keep it simple and straightforward. So, we're ready to perform now. This is the Animan idea, or the Carl Fulves idea for Gemini twins, as Carl Fulves named it. And a very simple trick, and it works itself. We're going to start off with the 10 of hearts. You always start off with the card that matches the card on the bottom of the pack. So if you're not sure which it is, you can just square up the pack and have a quick peek if you've forgotten. But that's the one you start off with. And you just deal the cards face down into a pile one at a time. Typically, I do the first one for the first spectator. I have them put their card in. And then I let the second spectator do it, because that way I've kind of set a precedent for what I want them to do. You don't want to hand the deck to the first spectator and then they turn cards face up or anything like that, which could ruin your trick. So for the first spectator, I say, I'll deal through the cards and you call stop anytime you like. And they call stop, and then they place the card in but face up so you can find it again. And of course you're just dropping the rest of the pack on top. And because the 10 of diamonds is on the bottom of the deck, you're just dropping that directly on top of the 10 of hearts. And it doesn't matter where they stop you, because the bottom card of this pack will never change. So very subtle and very, very clever. So that goes on to the 10. And you say, we'll do the same thing for the spectator number 2. In fact, you can even deal the cards if you like. And then you give them the pack, and because they've seen you do the procedure before, they know exactly what's expected, and you've got no chance that they'll deal some cards face up or anything like that. So they deal through, they stop dealing any time they like, they drop their card in face up, and you place the rest of the cards on top. Now you want to do a little bit of time misdirection. So typically, it depends what sort of rapport you've built with the spectators, but I'll talk about coincidence. Do they believe in coincidence? And whatever they answer, you say, what a coincidence, that's how I feel about it. Any sort of little line just to take the attention off the deck for a second. And then you spread the pack out to show your 2 reversed cards in the deck. And you can really now hard sell how fair this procedure has been. You say, right, so you place your cards into the deck, and if you'd called stop at a different point, your cards would have been in different places. You chose the positions. They have to agree with that because it is fair. So what we're going to do is take out the face-up cards and the cards above. It's always the cards above the face-up markers. So the 10 of hearts comes out with a card above it here, and the 4 of clubs comes out with a card above it here. And this, I pause now with this up-jogged for another little subtlety. I just say, if you'd called stop one card before, you'd have got this card. And if you'd called stop one card after, you'd have got this card. Well, that's a total lie, but it looks like it makes sense. So they accept that. And so there you go. You spread, gather up the rest of the deck so your pack is in the middle, and then you're set for your final revelation. So I talk to them about the first one. I say, wouldn't it be coincidence if you place the 10 of hearts next to the only other red 10 in the deck, which is the 10 of diamonds. So you turn that over to reveal it. And then come over here to say the 4 of clubs. You place next to the only other black 4, which is the 4 of spades. I like to pause for just a second and then hit them with the kicker finish of, and how you manage to match any of the cards at all, I don't know, because the rest of them have got no faces at all. And this is an absolutely killer finish for the card trick. The Gemini twins is obviously an old trick. It's been around for a long time. And the idea of the deck going blank afterwards, it just really nestles in and fits perfectly. And you're clean at this point. Everything is clean. Everything is examinable. You've got nothing to hide. No gimmicks. No gaffes. It's all just on the table and in their face. And it's a great way to end a set, or to just end a performance, because the cards have gone blank. You can't do any more tricks because the cards have all totally gone blank at the end. So it's a great kicker trick with a great surprising finish. And yeah, I absolutely love it. And it's simple, but don't let that stop you from trying it out, because I've done this trick probably for 20 years and I'm going to use it for the next 50, and I think when you try it out, you'll be doing the same thing. So there you go. That's how you perform the kick.